a Ghanaian word that means friend. So when we say tushereke, we're just saying friends, let's celebrate. How do you feel the song? All right, great. So another one here to challenge us as young people. The song says Mimi na wewe.
About the cost of change. See the placards all over the walls. Protest and protest and protest and protest. See the placards all over the walls. Protest and protest and protest and protest. Simple questions you need to answer yourself. Asking the change. Thank you. So we're still challenging you. And here is a song that says, Pambazuko. I so much believe in Africa. We so much believe in Africa, and we believe we have the potential and everything that we need. And so we are looking at Africa with a new eye.
the new season. Transparency has won, denouncing corruption. Integrity welcome, denouncing corruption. Equality has won, no discrimination.
Africa, just give a clap for that. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do one more. There's this lady called Zahara. She did a song called Loliwe. Some of you, I'm sure you've heard about it.
Sule zoyembe zimtagwetu, Sule zoyembe
zodwa mwafuna
hai ukuya kuna hatandaza.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Please give them another clap. Right. We'd like to proceed with the program. But first, how many of us were here yesterday? You were here yesterday? Kindly raise your hand. How many of us are new? It's your first time today. Where were you yesterday? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the 2021 Youth Employment Conference. What stood out for you from the sessions yesterday? Just one thing that stood out for you. One person, anyone? One thing that stood out for you yesterday. You can just stand and shout the answer. If there's nothing that stood out for you guys, then we can pack and make it an early Friday, you know, get the rest of the day off. Anything that stood out for you yesterday? Just one? Have you guys watched The Lion King? Have you watched The Lion King? Remember when Mufasa died? That is one of the saddest scenes ever. But what made it even more sad was when Simba was crying out for help. I was like, somebody, anybody. So guys, somebody, anybody who had like one thing, anybody, somebody, nobody? Yes, at the back. You can just project. Yeah, please just stand, tell us your name and just project. All right, thank you very much. At least, you know, the Bible says there shall be a remnant in the generation. So at least there's a remnant that caught something. So thank you very much. We'd like to encourage you all to get online, keep posting and tweeting about what is happening today, especially for the sessions that go on, the presentations. We need to at least publicize and let people know that there's something great happening, and use the hashtag YEC2021. And for that, our digital team has actually informed me that whoever posts a photo of the session and gets the most likes on Twitter is going to get airtime today. So get tweeting, get posting. If you're not on Twitter, it's a good time for you to sign up. Sawasawa, it takes only like 5 minutes for you to sign up. So please get tweeting. The hashtag is YEC2021, and post the messages on Instagram as well, and also on Facebook. Sawa? We're going to have a lot more of interactions throughout the course of the day. Today we're dealing with the digital economy, creative economy, and also the manufacturing economy. So we have a lot that has been lined out for each and every one of us. I know many people are interested in the Kenyan scene right now, especially the creative economy with what's been happening in the last few days. You guys have seen what happened with Eric Omondi, how he's fighting for Kenyan musicians, people saying he's chasing clout, but he has a point nonetheless with what he's trying to say, that we should support local talent as much as we can. And so we're going to look at some of these issues as well for this particular day. I'd like to invite the Youth Agenda CEO, Mr. Victor Nyongesa. I hope he's here. And I'm not inviting a ghost worker. I actually hope he's here. Oh, he's outside? Okay. Victor, if you can hear this, this is a public service announcement. Report to the stage. In the meantime, Okay, yeah, let's just give him a few minutes. In the meantime, as I had mentioned earlier, please ensure that all these messages go online on social media so that we have good presence and good content reaching out to as many people as possible. Sawa. Now that I have been given like 2 more minutes, you remember our Masai Mara trip yesterday? How many are still trying to figure out where we're going and why? How many of us understood what we were doing? So some of us still have no clue. Okay, we're going to revisit this. I see Victor has already walked in. So we're going to revisit that after the tea break. So for now, it is my pleasure to invite Victor Nyongesa, who is the Youth Agenda CEO, to come on stage and invite the next session and the panelists. Thank you very much. Karibu.
Good morning. Tuko sawa? I request wasenye tumeka behind there, kindly move forward. Let's move forward, tafadhali. On this side, kindly just move forward. Okay, thanks so much, Richard. My name is Victor Nyongesa. I serve as the CEO for Youth Agenda. And again, it's another day for us to have a conversation on how we are going to address the issue of unemployment within the country. I'm really disappointed a bit. We Kenyans, we never keep time. The communication was very clear. We were to start at 8:30. There are those ones who came in very early, but still there are those who just called. They are still on the way coming. But yesterday, it was an eye-opener. We started late, we ended late. So we'd rather start now because we can see all of our first panelists are all here, and even the moderator. And before that, just to remind us all, today we are going to look at 3 sectors. The first sector we are going to have a conversation on is the digital economy and the opportunities in that sector. After that, we will now look at the creative sector. What are the youth priorities? What are the policy gaps and the opportunities in that sector? In the afternoon, after lunch, we will now have a conversation on the opportunities in the manufacturing sector, and close the meeting or the conference with the last session covering the other barriers, addressing the barriers to youth employment. And I just want to take also this opportunity to inform you that the PS for planning will be here in the afternoon. He'll be the one to receive the final report from this meeting. So we have someone who has been taking notes since yesterday, and we hope that by 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. we'll have the first report that will be presented to the PS for planning. Our hope is the recommendations that are coming out from this conversation will find way into the final MTP4. And this MTP4 is being developed under the PS in charge of planning within the country. And that's why we invited him, and they've just called again to confirm they'll be here at 3:30. So I want to call upon each and everyone, each one of us to stay around. I know there are those ones who come from far, but let's stay around and ensure that we close the conference together. At this point, I don't want to waste much time. Allow me to invite the moderator for the first session, who's going to now invite his panelists. Kindly join me in welcoming Mr. Charles Waria, who is moderator for the first session. Thanks so much.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Charles Waria. I work with iGov Africa as the COO, and I'm going to be the moderator for this session this morning that will be looking at the digital sector. Without further ado, I'd like to invite the panelists to come forward. I have Dr. Jane Munga, who is the economic expert and advisor to the Cabinet Secretary for ICT. Dr. Jane, come forward. We have Caroline Njuki, who is the Chief Technical Advisor, and at the ILO. Caroline, come forward. We have Edna Carrillo, who is the Program Manager at e-Mobilis. Edna, there you are. And we have Brian Mwau, who is the lead developer at Ajiri. Brian, there you are. And we have Franklin Wender, who's Global Digital Marketing Manager at Geopol. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the panel. And I will begin the session by having them introduce themselves real quick and what they do and how what they do contributes to the growth of the digital sector in Kenya. But before we do that, I will also open up the space a little bit. Today, there's some 5.6 billion people in the world who have mobile phone connectivity. Out of those 5 billion people, 4.6 billion are active internet users. Out of those 4.6 billion, 4.2 active social media users. That's globally. But Kenya is a unique country in that out of a population of about 54 million, we have mobile phone connectivity of 59 million. As a country, our mobile phone connectivity is 108% of the population. And that's possible. If you look at I'm here and I have 2 phones, so one person represent 2 mobile phone connectivity. I'm sure if we do a head count here, is there anybody in this crowd who has just 1 phone? Oh my, how do you survive? An average Kenyan has 2 to 3 phones, Safaricom, Airtel, Telcom, and that's an average Kenyan, especially in Nairobi. Out of the 59 mobile phone connectivity, 21 million Kenyans are active internet users. And out of those 21, 11 million Kenyans are active social media users. They are actively engaging in social media. What we've seen since January last year is that there has been a 25% increase in social media usage between January and January 2021. There we are. So with that, I'll pass the mic to the panelists to give their introductions and why it is critical from where they see it, how they contribute to the growth of the digital sector in Kenya, and how that then enables for job creation for young people.
Thank you very much, the moderator. Good morning, everyone. God is good, and all the time. Yes, my name is Mo Brian. I'm the lead developer of the Ajiri application, and also the head of cybersecurity division in Tribus TSG. That's a subsidiary of Centum Investment. So today I'll be talking more about Ajiri. Ajiri is a connecting platform where we connect potential employers to their desired workforce in real time. And as you know, the moderator just mentioned, the mobile penetration in this country is really high. And that means opportunities nowadays are, are easily accessed over the internet. And that, internet also cuts, the barrier of geographical location, the barrier of communication, the barrier of time. So now having Ajiri as a platform, employers who have opportunities cutting across both blue collar to white collar, that is from plumbing jobs, mechanic jobs, to even, consulting jobs. They are able now to share those jobs and get people bid for those jobs and be able to connect, and that way we'll be able to build the economy. So Ajiri key focus is, creating opportunities, taking advantage of technology to create opportunities for the youth. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning once more. Good to see everyone again, those who are here yesterday that I already met, and for the panelists probably who are not here and those that are new today. My name is Caroline Joke, and I serve at the International Labour Organization as Chief Technical Advisor on Jobs and Skills. I'm probably the only not techie here. I have a feeling. I've got no background in tech, but I think it's also looking at technology from a different perspective. So why am I sitting here, not being a techie? Is because the International Labour Organization, as I mentioned yesterday, is the lead UN agency for the world of work. And when we celebrated 100 years, yes, we are really a dinosaur organization. 2 years ago, there was recognition from governments, workers, and employers that the landscape of work was changing. It was, there was the reality of technology. And technology was creating new jobs, still continues to, it will for a very long time. At the same time, some jobs were disappearing. And that was a concern for the workers. You've had a job for so long, you've never known anything else. It's replaced by, maybe you're a pool of you, suddenly there is a computer that replaces 20 of you. And this is something that we had to look at. It was a key concern. How is it that we as a UN agency that works on employment, that supports enterprises to build, to grow, and therefore create more employment, how are we able to take advantage of the digital transitions that the world continues to go through, while at the same time being very cognizant of some of the challenges that digital transformation is bringing to the world of work. And so that's what I will be sharing here in not so techie language. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Edna Carijo. I work at eMobilis as the program manager. We are an 11-year-old award-winning technology and digital training institution. Our mission is to empower young people in Africa with tech skills, but also prepare them for the future of work. What I'll be speaking to you about today is opportunities for youth in the digital space, including programs that we implement and run, for example, the Ajiri Digital Program, as well as other opportunities that are available for young people in the digital space. So looking forward to the conversation and to interacting with all of you. Thank you.
Good morning. Am I audible? Just wave at me if you can hear me. Fantastic. My name is Jane Munga. I work for the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs, where I serve as an economic expert and also as an advisor to the Cabinet Secretary. To Caroline Juki, you're in good company. I'm an economist by training, so I'm not a techie. But we apply ourselves to the technology world. In the Ministry of ICT for Information, we work on policy areas. We're trying to create an enabling environment for young people. And today, first and foremost, I'm so happy to be in a room of young people that you've just shown up. It's wonderful to always have energy of young people around me, showing up just to be there to seize the opportunity. We say that young people are the next generation, and digital jobs is the future. That's what we've already had. So having the next generation coming to discuss about the future that's the discussions that we'll be having. I even hear in the room there is the next generation. I'm hearing a child who keeps talking to us, but I want to encourage that just show up the way you are. And I'm very proud of the mom who is here, or the caretaker, because this is where we are in this world now. We have to seize the opportunities as you are. Don't feel excluded. And I hope when I speak to you, you're not feeling that I'm excluding you or looking out. But I'm here to applaud you, and I think we should all applaud you. But, sometimes you don't show up because you start the situation. But there is a Prime Minister for New Zealand who has shown us, just show up. She goes to Parliament with her child. And I think that's why we are here, to say that no matter where you are as a young person or as a woman, you can benefit from the digital economy, and the government of Kenya is here to support you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Franklin Kibuata. I am the Digital Marketing Manager, Global, at Geopol. Geopol is a research company that, as at yesterday, works in 91 countries across the world, so Africa, Asia, and Latin America. And Nairobi is the biggest office, although the head office is in the US. And it's the biggest office for a reason. Just how technologically developed we are in Kenya, especially as the youth. And I'm here to share my experience throughout the years. I have been in this space for some time, and I'm here to share my experience throughout that time, the opportunities that I've seen, and how we can grow this sector to also contribute more, because we do contribute a lot to the economy of the country and the world, but how we can contribute more to that. I look forward to this conversation, and I believe that we will come out better than we came in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we will do a first round of questions to the panelists. I will pose the first round. Once they respond to the first round, I will open it up so that the audience may pose some questions to them from what they have shared, and then we will proceed from there. The first question, I'm going to pose it to Jane, given that government is the anchor, and that government plays a critical role in enabling for that uptake. For enabling of that uptake. And looking at the universal coverage and the role of infrastructure in enabling for these different actors to grow in the digital space. From where you see it as an advisor to the CS, and from the role, and I'm gonna wrap it up in the economics aspect of it. What is the government doing that the youth can take home today? What is the government doing as far as de-risking initial investments in hard-to-reach areas, so that this broader, this broader internet access that enables for a youth in Isiolo, a youth in Mandera, a youth in Turkana, as well as a youth in Nairobi, to be able to do what they can do with e-commerce and internet? How is the government expanding and de-risking those initial investments in those areas?
Thank you, Charles, for that question. And it's a very relevant question. I will try and handle it in two fronts. As I said, we work on policy. That is our mandate, is to deliver policy that helps Kenyans for it to be an enabled ecosystem for you to benefit. So on the first front, I'll be quick and I'll say we have developed policies. The first one that I really want to make mention of is a digital economy blueprint. The digital economy blueprint helped us map out through a stakeholder forum where we went and sat with various stakeholders, even some in this room. What are the key anchors or pillars that we need to develop our digital economy? The first one, you've already alluded to it, is infrastructure. Second is the digital government. You have to start having government come on the digital space. So we have to lead from the front. And third, and most important, is digital business. That we have to create the right environment for digital businesses to thrive in Kenya. And then when we do that, we also try and grow our innovation ecosystem. So we are trying to grow the innovation entrepreneurship pillar to ensure that even young people are able to, when you have an idea, that you can be a techpreneur. So you can grow your idea from the tech environment. And the last one, of course, is the digital skills and values. So out of these 5 pillars, now we talked how we are now going on the ground and having intervention on this. Unfortunately, I was not here yesterday, but I hope at this point you've heard about the Ajiri digital program. By show of hands, how many people here know about Ajiri? Okay, that's good. That's great, and I hope all of you have at least interacted with the platform. If you're not familiar with it, is ajiradigital.go.ke. The platform is one of our gig economy projects that we want to see. We want to see how can young people, or even Kenyans, because government always think about everyone, but more targeted to young people who have the skills to get jobs online. So how can you have this platform that goes to empower you and to let you know that these opportunities are available? But we know that if you don't have access, if you don't have a computer, or you don't have the internet, this becomes a challenge. And so as government, again, it's a whole ecosystem thing. So we've partnered with the members of parliament, and we have established what we're now calling the Ajiri Youth Empowerment Centers, which previously we called them with the Constituency Innovation Hubs. These are about 200. We're trying to target them to all the constituencies in Kenya. The Ajiri Youth Employment Centers, in partnership with the members of parliament, we are developing an innovation hub, or as a center whereby we provide connectivity through one of our partners, that is Telkom Kenya. So when you go to that center, you don't have to worry about connectivity. Secondly, you don't have to worry about the device. So we have also partnered with many members, with the stakeholders, to provide devices in all of these innovation centers. And then we have and I'm glad Edna is here, because we've been partnering with them also to do the training for Ajiri. So it helps you understand how do you go to the platform, how do you open your own account, and also give you some of, as you say, de-risk. Because also once you get online, the risk factors are there. So there's a lot of training that happens on the skills and values. So I know I'll have another opportunity, and I see Charles has already grabbed his phone, so I don't want to talk too much, and we're many, but just to let you know that the opportunities again are there, and this is just one of them. Many of them also happen in the private sector. So I call the digital world an open canvas. It's up to you, all of us, to see how we can benefit from it. Thank you.
While you still have the mic, could you just speak briefly to the digital economy blueprint? You know, what is that to the young people, and how can they access it, and how can they utilize it?
Okay. The digital economy blueprint, like other policy documents that the government makes, are policy statements or strategies. So it charts out our roadmap, like how we are here now, because I hear the MTP3 is under design. It casts our vision for the next 5 years. And we say that is what we want to do. So as government, we have developed this, and it has also been embraced in Africa. So other countries are also embracing this document through the Smart Africa Alliance. But the document is available for you in the Ministry of ICT website. It's www.ict.go.ke. Again, it's www.ict.go.ke. And you can download it from there. There's also another document that you can also look at, the ICT policy, that provides the opportunities. It even specifically calls now for the opportunities for the young people who are there, and also the youth development policy is also there. So these are key documents that we in the ICT ministry look at, and again, they're all available in the Ministry of ICT website, ict.go.ke. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, I'm going to pose it to Caroline of ILO. And for a long time, the definition of jobs has been formal employment. You know, unless I sit in an office, you know, with a nice tie like this, and earn a salary at the end of the month, I am not employed. You know, and there's been a struggle, and even ILO, through the International Labour Conferences, has been through a path of trying to broaden the definition. How do we define, how do we count jobs? And the 19th ICLS broadened it further, that beyond formal employment, we can also look at informal employment, you know, and there's a broader categorization of jobs in the informal employment. Now, I want you to speak to the young people here on how is ILO not only demystifying how we classify jobs, but also broadening the conversation on what is a job, and encouraging as many people as possible to come into that space and be proud of what they're doing as a job.
Thank you. You know, I think I'm not shy to say that we are one of those entities that struggled a lot with these new forms of work. And because when you look at how work is organized, we do have an employer that is known, that is clear, with specific obligations. We have a contract. We do have the employee on the other side who's very clear on what their terms of employment are, you know. And now, suddenly, things were beginning to change, you know, and the employer and employee plus government constantly have dialogue on how to organize that work, on what rights should be upheld, on what obligations the employers have. You know, we are more familiar with this. Enters gig economy, where there is an employer who's not really an employer, as we know them. There is a task to be done within a very specific time. There's not that interaction that happens in a normal work contract setting. You know, those terms that are usually prescribed in a contract, those of you who've seen a contract, it says you will get some benefits, you will get NHIF, for instance, you are entitled to maternity cover, you are entitled to a pension at a certain time, you are allowed to join a trade union where you can actually speak out about some of the challenges you're facing with your employer. Those things are not there, you know. But the reality, and why we struggled with it as an organization that brings together governments, workers, and employers, is because these entities, especially the workers, could not understand this new way of working. But the reality is that the digital transformation is here. Our world will never be the same again. And we can no longer hold on to those, quote unquote, let me call them old forms of work. We have to embrace these new forms of work, but also look at how is it that we can ensure that they do not perpetuate injustices, that wages can still be discussed, and which is a constant issue that comes in when we are talking about digital jobs, that these quote-unquote employers who don't like to be called employers can still be held accountable, and the employee also plays their rightful role. And we have to look at Kenya, Africa, where, you know, our economies are not thriving as they should, because if they were, we would be creating more jobs that we currently are. We all know what the unemployment figures are. And these digital jobs, the digital economy provides us with an opportunity to eke out a couple thousand more jobs for young people, but also in a way that is very flexible. Some of you who may have worked maybe within the Ajiri digital program, you know the flexibility that this avails you, that you can do 5 tasks at the same time well, it looks like at your own convenience, but then at the end of, the connectivity, there is someone that is waiting for you to hand in these tasks. So that is why we as the ILO are engaging in this space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And speaking of while we're still on jobs, I want to post this to Franklin. 2 weeks ago, I was invited to the Hotel Sankara, and a company called Twiva was launching what they call a social commerce platform. And a social commerce platform is small businesses that are making stuff use social influencers, young Kenyans who are famous and popular on social media, and those young Kenyans market, those products made by small businesses, and expose them to numerous clients. The social commerce, and that speaks directly to digital marketing opportunities. From where you see it, and speaking to this Kenyan youth who, as Carolina said, are encouraged to embrace new forms of work, so that a social influencer wakes up in the morning and that's their job, to then go out and pick products and market those products like they were their own, and each product that sells, they get a margin from it, they grow as a person, but also the business also grows. How is that space in Kenya, and what are the opportunities that young people can jump onto right from today to start making money tomorrow?
All right. There exists a plethora of opportunities in the digital economy. Like it's almost limitless what you can do online. One most obvious thing is, of course, getting employed in that sector, like myself, where you become a professional digital marketer, a professional ICT expert that then gets hired to offer that as your job. That's the first and the most direct thing. But then there'll be such employment is not going to be available for everyone. So what can you do as a person, as an individual, to start taking advantage of the opportunities that are there? One, you can sell products online. I mean, the e-commerce sector has really grown in this country. When we started out, so I used to work at Bata a long time ago. And we used to be the only company that had an e-commerce website back then. But then now, there are thousands of e-commerce websites that are selling out there. So that becomes another opportunity. Another one is whatever expertise you have, digital channels give you the opportunity to sell that service. For example, you're an accountant. Go online, post your stuff. Say I do accounting, I do tax consulting, etc. Get hired for that, make money. And it's so flexible that you don't even need lots of capital or even any capital to start up. There's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's and like Facebook and Instagram are Facebook shops. So you can set up your shop. You don't even have to own the stock. Once upon a time, I was working at an e-commerce company, and there used to be a channel called affiliate marketing. Many of us know about affiliate marketing. And I used to see young people in college making hundreds of thousands of shillings every month. They don't own the stock. They do what he has described. So pick products that are popular, publicize them, get a cut for every sale that is made. Another one is drop shipping. You can start a website that sells to people in the US. You're not there. You sell. Your website, you drive traffic to your website. People buy. So if it's Amazon, Amazon pays you at the end of the month. So lots of opportunities. All we need to do is open our minds to these opportunities that are online, and grab them with both hands, because the barrier to entry is minimal for most of these things. And you get to reach a whole world. The other day I was looking at my work since COVID started. And I've run marketing campaigns in close to 50 countries, in over 10 languages from my dining table. So see how people say that the world is a digital, the world at the moment is a village. It has become so small, especially with COVID, that you just pick your laptop, your phone, and start.
Thank you very much. Next question goes to Edna. So, again, Kenyan youth are very smart people. I'm a big admirer of the Kenyan youth, very smart people. But also, I keep wondering, if you look at internet usage, okay, against the population, while Kenyans feel proud in East Africa in the Africa region has the lowest conversion of 24%. Southern Africa has 62%, and Western Africa has 46%. So there's something that's not adding up, isn't it? But amidst all that, there's a growing opportunity. I've seen companies like Scale AI, I've seen companies like Africa AI Labs coming in and setting up business process outsourcing here in Kenya to do data labeling for countries like Tesla in the US, riding on the growing opportunities around AI. But what I've seen some of those companies do is rapid skilling of youth to become data labelers and sit behind computer and do data labeling. And they earn a minimum of 5,000 shillings per week, right? With a rapid 2-week scaling on data labeling. From the perspective of e-mobilities, how can this opportunity be rapidly spread out? Is it spreadable? Do you see it where you see it? Is it something that young people can jump into quickly and become data labelers, and Kenya becomes the regional hub for BPO, so that we move BPO from Asia and countries like India and China and bring it here? Is Kenya able to do that?
Great, thanks for that question. And my straight answer for you is yes, Kenya is able to do that. So let me give some perspective around the question that you've asked. There was a study that was done this year that was released 3 months ago, the National Study on Digital and Digital Enabled Work and the awareness level of the Ajiri digital program. So what the study found was that currently we have about 1.2 million Kenyans who are working as digital workers. That's about 5% of the adult population in Kenya. And this current trend is growing, not just in Kenya, but across the globe. So these numbers are increasing. So what we are seeing with this trend is that more young people are taking up digital work. And when I talk of digital work, I mean, any work that you can deliver online via the internet, and also the gig economy refers to, the labor market that has to do with freelancers, short-term contracts that's away from the traditional employment. So when you look at the trends, the numbers already speak for themselves that Kenyans are embracing digital work and the gig economy. Now, to your point about emerging technologies like AI and data annotation, we have already seen an increase with the demand for these skills as well as the demand for jobs. If you look at the private sector, for example, we are now working backwards where we're looking at the demand side and what skills are needed. Then you work backwards to equip now the young people with these skills so that then you're able to bridge this gap between the demand for those skills and lack of jobs. Because one of the challenges that many young people are facing is that when they graduate, there's a bit of a mismatch between what they currently have and what the market needs. And the market changes very quickly. So if we don't keep up with that trend to upskill these young people, then there ends up being that mismatch. But to your point, already the private sector is embracing upskilling young people with these emerging trends so as to help, curb the unemployment. When it comes to BPO, it's exactly what we are doing, with the Ajiri digital program, and Dr. Jane has given the perspective from the policy level, the digital economy blueprints, and then now from the implementation level. When you look at the programs such as Ajiri Digital, one of the main aims of the program is to enable Kenya to be a global freelancing hub by 2022, which we believe we'll be able to achieve because we are supporting local companies and private sector companies to be able to provide these jobs to young people. So whether it's data annotation, whether it's transcription, for example, there's a very good partnership that's currently happening with the judiciary. So where court cases are being transcribed, so we already have local BPOs have been set up in 5 counties already so far, in Kisumu, in Mombasa, in Kirinyaga and Embu, and the government is rolling out such BPOs across the country. So yeah, we are heading in the right direction. We just need to move faster and create more awareness on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brian, this question is to you as a developer. A lot of Kenyan universities are now churning out graduates in ICT. Most of them call themselves developers. But they come out and then they start applying for jobs. They're looking for ICT jobs everywhere. As a developer, how should that change? What disruptions need to happen for people to work at a university, not to search for jobs, but to create jobs?
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles, for the good question. I'd say in the schools we've gone, we've been taught how to graduate out of school and spend the rest of your years looking for an opportunity rather than creating an opportunity. Based from my experience, I personally graduated from Jomo Kenyatta University back in 2016, November. The entire of 2017, I was jobless because I was trying to locate a place where I can be able to get a job. And fortunately, I managed to get my first internship at the National Treasury in January 2018, which only lasted for 3 months. And I was back to the pattern. Yes, I've had a good opportunity to earn 25,000 for 3 months, but where next? And through that time is when, I started realizing, a friend of mine asked me, Brian, you saying you're looking for an opportunity. What qualification do you have? I told them, I'm a graduate. I'm a degree holder from Jomo Kenyatta University. He told me, okay, Brian, I'm a doctorate. I'm a doctor and I am jobless. And that led to a conversation of where is the problem? Does it mean that you being a doctor, you have actually spent 8 years trying to, get to that level? I'm only 4 years trying to get my degree. So how do you transition now from that searching state to developing state? And I'll say my breakthrough came when God opened a chance for me to join the ICRAL Innovation App, which were managed to be part of the first 40 students to be trained on National Cybersecurity Program. So during this 6 months program, being trained by the discipline forces, we were always taught how to create. You are being given an assignment, and the first thing you're told is, we have to disconnect you guys from the internet. So you're given a question and you're told, you don't have to Google, think. You've gone to school. And out of that, we are able, now to realize, we can be able to create. So this just needs for every youth to understand, you have the ability to create. If you believe, you can be able to create. And upon graduating from that, I'm sharing my story, but I'm hoping I'm getting to answer the question. Upon graduating from that training, I joined a group of 4 students. So as a team of 5, we developed the Ajiri program because we were able to just look on a real problem that is facing the youth of Kenya and based on our past experiences, because initially I'd worked in a real estate company, and every time my boss would fly back to Kenya, would ask me, Brian, where can I get a technician who can come and fix my TV? Where can I get a plumber? Where can I get a mechanic? And the reality you find, maybe the social class and the status quo does not allow these people to interact, because maybe this man spends all the time in the airport and in a taxi back to his home. But also the mechanic spends most of the time maybe either in a matatu or in a bicycle. So they don't have time to interact. So, but there's one thing that connects both, you know, whether you're from which community, whether you're from what region, the internet gives us, you know, the digital space gives us the opportunity to be able to connect. You might find actually that plumber and my boss, they are friends in Facebook and they don't know. So, having just to check, you know, we have a real problem of connecting youth to opportunities, and also we have the problem of connecting employers to, you know, their desired workforce. And effortlessly, we created the Ajiri program, and within 7 days, we developed the application, and the application again was supported by the Centum Investment. We did a very good launch back in May 2019. And actually the uptake of the program was really surprising, because within the first 4 days, we had already over 4,500 users, and already over 250 youth had been able to get opportunities connecting to jobs. And that was just a small way of just analyzing, yes, we've been able to identify a small problem, give a solution to it, and actually it's impacting lives. And from that phase is when now we, fortunately, MasterCard Foundation was launching the Young Africa Works here in this country. And during that first chapter, we shared with them in a small way what we had been able to achieve in the past 6 weeks. And that led us to getting a grant of an initial grant of $1.4 million. And this, again, we went back to thinking again. You see, we started with a problem, analyzing the problem, and taking advantage of the skills that we had, because I remember during the development, we didn't get any financing from Centum. We didn't get any financing. We just used the skills that we had in our heads. And now this one translated to $1.4 million. And from a team of 5, we were able to employ now a team of 105. And now the team of 105 has been able to impact over 650,000 Kenyans over the last 2 years. So that means once you change the perspective from looking to creating, you are able to transform and impact our generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to open it up to the audience to pose questions. This is your chance for the next 15 minutes.
Morning. My name is Charles. I'm still a student at the University of Nairobi. First of all, congratulations on what you've been able to do. My question is, previously, when the process of looking for a job, you would apply and then you find that for one opportunity, like yesterday you were told, the Nairobi NMS advertised for around 250 jobs, give or take, but then they had around 57,000 applicants. So it was very hard previously to give these people feedback on why they are left behind. But now, applications are being run through ATS. So is it possible for the ATS to tell you, for instance, Charles, you failed because you didn't meet the minimum number of years of experience, so that it eases the process of looking for a job? So that's a question to Ajiri. The next question is to ILO. Everybody uses tech. Everybody here uses a product of Google. Everybody uses a product of Meta, Facebook. Everybody uses a product of Microsoft. But why can't we be engaged in supporting these companies? Why is it that the corporate jobs for Facebook are only in USA? And yet we are the people, we are the numbers that are making up these jobs. So why are we not having that discussion? The other question is for Immobilis from Ajira. And Ajira is doing an amazing job, and thank you for what you're doing. But then my question is, and I think Brian and some tech can agree, The next skill, the skill for the next generation is not Microsoft Word. It's not how to start up your computer. It's coding. So why is Ajira not inculcating, teaching us how to code or teaching people how to code? Why is it that you go for a software engineering degree in university for 4 years, then you come out and you have to go to a coding boot camp for you to be able to code? So yeah, finally, Ministry of ICT. My question on the gig economy. When it comes to legislation in the gig economy, why does it start and stop at taxation? Kwanini is the only thing we're hearing, not the only thing, but I think where the government touches what a gig economy needs your tax. Why can't we have the government intervene in a way that these companies know that by the way, when you come to Kenya, there are laws from the government that protect these people? So yeah, thank you.
There's a flurry of hands. Let me get a lady first, and then I'll come back. I'm going to be gender sensitive. First over there. You're going to do another question, right?
Good morning. My name is Ambale Sarafina, and I'm the founder of Eagle Wings organization, which is in Kisumu. So my question goes to Brian. We are looking at many people, young people at the moment, using digital platforms. And in each digital platform, you're giving our information, yeah? Your name, your details, like all of your details. And these are really placed many youths in situations that are so bad. So how do we ensure that our information is secure?
Is it strong enough? Let me get a stronger microphone. Yeah, this is a super one. Yeah. Right. So apart from questions, you're also free to make comments or recommendations that will again go into improving. So this gentleman over here in a nice suit, it looks like a government official.
Thank you so much. I think I have one question to you and then another one to ILO. Now, in July this year, there was a very serious case where a senior banking manager for ABSA was unfairly terminated because of the integrated ICT system that they used. And I remember the court awarded him 6.5 million Kenya shillings. So that goes to ILO. How do we ensure that our employers have a very watertight ICT system? Because over time, it was the highest ranking, actually outstanding within the system. Then one day, the system just wakes up and ranks him poor performance, you know, and he gets terminated like that. So I think there is an issue of data in terms of how then do employers develop a very watertight ICT system without leaks. And then on the Data Protection Act of 2019 that has now been enacted into law, I think there were so many issues that were raised from the Defenders Coalition and several other NGOs as regards to certain recommendations to appointment in those offices, and actually the idea of the qualifications of those who are there. And that again goes to how do we ensure that the personal data, especially in these platforms, are not used for radicalization, because you know, we have had cases of where you submit your details for a particular job, and the next day the police looks for you in Garissa, you know, and all that. So then the idea of data protection under the Data Protection Act is one that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
And then we see if this is more.
Good morning. My name is Tony Dan, and I have a question to the advisor to the Ministry of ICT. If we look at our Kenyan universities, whatever they are offering, the curriculum is still the same, but the world of ICT is changing. We are moving from softwares such as SPSS to new softwares that the employers demand. you as a ministry, what are you doing to make sure that the universities give relevant skills to what the employer demands? Another question is, I had the same question as my friend from Kisumu. In recent years, we have heard that you share information through the internet. The next thing is some people are implicating you. So what is the Ministry of ICT doing to make sure that our data is protected? Thank you very much.
Hello. Yes, thank you. Thank you. For the first question that went first, I believe from my brother there, was regarding to getting feedback after, applying for a job, so that you know how to do better when you're applying for the next job. But I tell you honestly, most of the employers, they actually don't have that time to advise you, and it's sad. But what I can encourage you is keep applying, but every time you are doing that, ask yourself, am I doing it better than I did my last time? Have I added something new to what I submitted last time? And keep on and keep on. But if you realize it's a cycle, also maybe God might be communicating something to you. Stop applying, start creating. So the other question was about, from my sister from Kisumu regarding to how are we sure that our data is protected in this application. My advice to you is, before you sign up in any maybe job finding application or any other application that you are signing up, make sure that you read the terms and conditions. It's very important. Most of us youth, most of the time we just click, and we don't create time to read about that, because that is what will protect you. And also, as my brother mentioned, the Computer Abuse and Cybercrimes Act of 2018 has just been enacted. We saw the NC4 just been launched the other day. So that already has protected us as a nation. So also as a youth, take time, go and read what that act is all about and how you're covered. And I believe as you do so, you're going to protect yourself. Protecting yourself online starts with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the different questions. The first one was on why corporate jobs of tech companies are largely in the global north. And I think we can be very realistic. I'll use an non-tech company. Let's use Kenya Airways. Where are most of their corporate jobs? They're here in Nairobi because it was founded here. But everywhere Kenya Airways flies, in all their destinations, pockets of jobs are created, whether it's in their cargo or passenger fleet. There is a lot of support. It's an entire chain. And so what I would encourage us is to look at what are the opportunities that those global tech giants, I dare call them, what are those opportunities that are available to us? And the colleague from Immobilis already mentioned some of those opportunities that are there. Yes, they are not the CEO or the COO positions necessarily, and those are very few. That's just the reality. There are very few at the top. What opportunities have those companies created that are available to us here locally? And there will be at the lower level, intermediate level, and some even almost at the very senior management level, and take advantage of that. Some of the examples she talked about, whether it's annotation, labeling, but beyond that, there is also software development where you actually need a very specialized skill. And also, I hope that we develop more of those companies from Kenya to the world. Then we can also have those here. And there are many of them that are coming up. There is the question, I don't remember from who, on how we can ensure businesses develop watertight systems. He's spoken to it. One, of course, is having enabling legislation in place. But beyond that is also the fact that we have an appreciation that this is a real challenge, that the digital transformation is coming with its own challenges. So many of us are concerned with our data protection, and you saw from the number of questions that came from the floor. So that awareness, and then government supporting with legislation that protects people. It's not just people, it also protects businesses. We have we have all these types of cyber crimes. I don't know if anyone here has been conned by someone pretending to be from the bank. You know, you give them all your details, meanwhile your M-Pesa is running crazy, you know. So how do we ensure that, for instance, monies are not lost when that happens? You know, digital values, and Daktari spoke about that, is that we embrace digitization, but there are also values that we should take into that space. And finally, and I know this was not a question posed, but I would just like to mention one thing on the demand and supply in the digital economy. And we have to be very careful as a country that we do not take the problem we've had with linking skills to employment in the non-digital world, where you know, different competencies that are supposed to be held when someone is actually going to look for a job are just not there. You know, how do we ensure that we follow demand and we are not so supply driven? You know, a Massey Coast study in 2019 spoke about what the gentleman at the back said. You know, what kind of programming, and I'm not a techie again, but what kind of competencies are being provided at university level, and what is the world of the real work? What skills do they need? But as young people, I have a challenge for you. I can say us, because I'm no longer very young. It is use opportunities. There are opportunities to improve your competence. Yes, you may have that 4-year degree, and you realize that this is not giving you headway. Go to Udemy. The amount of time you spend, I'm not lecturing anyone, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, mostly bashing people, take that time to Coursera, take that time to Udemy, teach yourself to code. Don't wait for the boot camp, and you can really improve on the skill that you do have. And these don't cost much. I was very surprised. I paid 2,000 shillings equivalent for my son to get a training on Udemy. It's not in the hundreds of dollars. So it's also about taking initiative to improve your own employability. Thank you.
Great. So I'd like to respond to the question on skills. So the skills that are being offered through the Ajiri digital program that was asked by the gentleman on the second row. I think on our end, we need to create more awareness on what's being offered through the Ajiri digital program, because it's not just basic digital skills. If you visit the website, ajiridigital.go.ke, the government has partnered with very many providers of these skills. So one good example that I can give you that kickstarted this year is the AWS Cloud Practitioner Certification. So it's being offered by Amazon Web Services in collaboration with Ajiri Digital. And it's being offered free of charge. In fact, the next cohort will be coming up in January. So please follow the social handles for Ajiri Digital. You'll be able to see the call for applications. It's a 12-week course, and you get fully certified on Cloud Practitioner. Then there are also other public-private partnerships that Ajiri Digital has gotten into, so with IBM, with Huawei, with Google. So all those courses are being offered on the website, you'll be able to access them. Then I just want to also echo on the parts for competencies, which has been mentioned. You don't only need the hard skill to succeed as a young person. When you look at the matching the supply side and the demand side, it's a combination of skills. And that's one of the things that we are trying to address, as a technology company. So it's not just to offer the hard skills, but a combination of all these other competencies, soft skills. So if you become a gig worker or a freelancer, you'll find yourself pitching to clients online. So if you can't put together a good proposal, well written, and pitch your skills and be able to negotiate, you won't get that gig. If you're not persistent, also, working in the online space requires consistency and being persistent. That's also another soft skill that you have to develop. Teamwork and collaboration is also very key. So if you're in the coding space, and Brian can tell you, you're always working in teams. There are those who are working on the front end, others on the back end, others who are managing the project. But if you can't work well with them, you bring the entire team down. So my message and my advice to all the young people, from what I've seen, from my work experience, it really takes, for you to succeed in your career, it goes beyond your degree, your paper, and your hard skill. How you relate with other people at work, the teamwork, being proactive, writing good emails, putting together good proposals, good presentations, that's what will get you there. Especially for techies. Sometimes techies, we think you know it all because you have the hard skill, but then now when you meet others with very good soft skills and competencies, you get to understand that you have to have that balance to succeed. So yeah, that's my advice. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. They're really also helping us to really frame our policies. And I take note on the questions for data. As you mentioned, the gentleman who I think also works in government, I was told the suit, but he's shaking, so he's not in government. But what we have done with the enactment of the Data Protection Act is now we've brought into the office of the Data Commissioner. I invite you to please visit that website, because this is where you also start empowering yourself. If you do believe that you have any data that has been breached or has been shared, there is a way you can file a complaint for an investigation to happen. So the framework has now been put in place, and an office has been put in place to also protect you in case you believe that your data is being used maliciously. Because of course, data is your personal right, and now it's been enshrined by law. But going to my earlier comment, data protection, cybersecurity starts with you being aware of what kind of data you are sharing. In Kenya, we have a very interesting customs whereby you enter any building or you enter anywhere, you leave your number, your ID, and all manner of information. That sometimes you have to ask yourself, how is that information being used? Sometimes when I go to a place these days, I just give them one or the other. I say, you don't need my ID. Because now you find yourself being registered in all manner of places. As she said, you get people calling you saying that that your M-Pesa has been hacked, all these interesting issues. But we are now in a regime where we have to understand that you've been empowered by law, what you're obliged to give and what you're not obliged to give. And then the last question, I know our time has come, is on the issue of digital tax. I know this has become a very heated topic and discussion. And it's something as government, we are really sitting together to see how we can empower young people to benefit from the digital space. We are here to create policies that empower, not that punish. And sometimes the taxation element becomes seen as that. But we are trying to have these open discussions. We take them at heart. We don't have all the answers, but we are here to listen. And even as we move on to the next planning phase, is to see how we can improve some of these areas that we are saying that are being prohibitive. So we are listening and we are taking notes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, before we check the next round of questions, I hope by now you've noticed that in the panel here, we have enablers and we have actors. Government and ILO are enablers. They contribute to creating an environment so that the actors can do their best and the actors can thrive. And before we wrap up this session, we're going to listen to two actors, two young actors. One of them is Joy Mwangi. Joy, where you at? Joy Mwangi is right there. No, don't come yet. Don't come yet. I'm just mentioning. And Joy Mwangi is the CEO and co-founder to a center that I have personally visited in Westlands. It's called the Ada Animation at the Ada Labs. Amazing, amazing work. Young people taking tech to the next level. And there's Jeff Mkungusi. Jeff, where you at? Jeff is right there. And Jeff is the director of the Africa Blockchain Center. Africa Blockchain Center. And blockchain has a direct link to AI, and has a direct link to Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 is Kenya trying to seize the opportunity that tech provides to grow our industrialization to where developed countries are. These two innovative young people are going to come towards the end of this session to show us what they do in the spaces where they are at with the technology that's available, but also to pose a challenge to the enablers, okay, on how can they support you best so that you can do what you do better. Now, let's take the last round of questions. Again, if you give me another, let me start with this gentleman over here. Also looks like a government officer.
I'm not a government officer, but as some may know, maybe in the near future I'm gonna be in government because I'm actively running for the office of president. So, yeah, I have to say it because if I don't come here and say it, you'll say, oh, hata kutuambia. So my name is Christopher Alvin Mokaya. Some of you might know me. And I've seen even in the program some panelists are good friends of mine. And it's a very important discussion. So straight to my comment and question. First of all, I would like to really thank you guys for the insightful discussions. I came when it was going on, but Brian, that's amazing work you're doing. Maybe a question to you, in your corporate social responsibility, because I pride myself in the area of mentorship. I've been a mentor with the Emerging Leaders Foundation. I wear many hats, but just to speak on mentorship, it plays a very important role. Perhaps you found out your way trying to figure out your way in life, as most young people do. But once you make it, once the millions start coming in, this student who is in university has not graduated, surviving on help loans, wants to figure out the way out. What space are you creating to mentor them? Because from where I sit, mentorship does not necessarily require a lot of resources to, it could be just as simple as a piece of advice. And also it cuts across even to the Ministry of ICT. What are you going, I know there's the Ajiri digital program, but how are you scaling it up? And particularly on another issue, how is the Ministry of ICT collaborating with the Ministry of Education to ensure that our children are getting the right curriculum? I know there's the CBCS, but my background is in education as a tech educator. I'm trained to teach computer in high school. So I have looked at the curriculum. Now, if you look at the curriculum, they're telling us it is competency-based education. But I still wonder why computer science or IT was not put as a core subject right from the primary level. So what is the Ministry of ICT doing with the Ministry of Education to ensure that is done? Because for me, if you ask me as an educator, if you wait until university level, because I've had people comment about the curriculum at the university level is not sufficient. If you wait until the university level to make it right, you're missing a lot of links. If you just do background checks, in the West, children as early as, lower grades, they're coding. So why are we not mainstreaming this in the curriculum? Why are we waiting for people to find it out for themselves? So this especially goes out to the representative of the government. So thank you so much. Those are my comments for now.
so that we don't miss out on these two critical presentations, I will take only one extra question from this lady over here. Make it brief, please.
Concerning the creative and digital economy, something that is really emerging is the EdTech, which the lady from ILO mentioned. But one thing I'm seeing is how is the Kenyan EdTech affordable? Because I'm a student at a public university. So I look at something like computer science. You only learn C, C++, and maybe, I don't know what else, but Python is not there, R is not there. And even for where it is being offered, because I'm starting to see it at my public university, I look at 3 months training and it's maybe 60,000. And I wonder which young person is going to afford that. And then you find it affordable at, let's say, Udemy, but who does Udemy pay tax to? It pays tax to US. So what are we doing so that the money is in Kenya? Government in Kenya taxes that rather than running after someone with a small studio and these certifications, you know, of maybe license 20,000. So really the economic approach, you know, the cash flows, where to tax, where not to tax, what to direct, what not to direct. Really, so that's my question. What is government doing to ensure that they can tap into the EdTech space so that we who now from that space will be working don't get a heavy burden of tax and licenses?
Thank you very much. I must apologize profusely that I'm not able to take any more questions because two things are critical. One, we need to go for a break. But before we go for a break, I will listen to these two innovations. And to the panelists, I'm going to give this to Dr. Jane just to respond 1 minute to the questions directed to government, both in terms of linkage, MOE, ICT, and EdTech.
Thank you again for this opportunity. On the question of ensuring that the right skills are being, we are in partnership, government works as one. There's a one government approach. So we have had many collaborations, many meetings, and you can begin to see some of the output of this. We have the program we just launched last week, the 4th cohort of the Presidential Digital Talent Program. It was out of the realization that we may be having a lot of learners go, but they not have the ready for skills that is required. And because that's the employers are telling that, the students themselves are telling us. So with this is a 1-year program whereby you are brought into work with the government and the private sector. So 6 months you work with government, 6 months you work with the private sector. And you're exposed to all the different kind of skills, and you have to have a bachelor's of engineering, because that's the basic qualification. So this opportunity now avails you, they're ready for skills. But even beyond that, we are still looking at how we partner with the universities. And we have started a lot of collaborations with the private sector. Huawei is offering a lot of programs, Microsoft the same way, Google is offering the same way. If you go to Strabo, there are so many collaborations that we are now promoting using the private sector in ICT sector to enable our young people to be skilled with the ready for skills. She talked about the Amazon Web Services program that we've just launched on Ajiri. Please continue to monitor this, because even Python, I had someone talk about that. These programs are always there. We ran Coursera, we did a whole year of free Coursera. Any program you wanted through Coursera. And I know through Coursera, you can now get those programs that you're indicating. Because for 1 year, when government enters into a partnership, then we waive the fee. So please keep yourself aware. I've had the question again about the digital tax. It continues to be a very pertinent question, as I've said. We may not have all the answers, but again, we are here because we are developing plans for the next 5 years when it comes to planning. So these are the issues that we're beginning to realize that are hurting us, because when you hurt, we hurt. So we are trying to see how we can truly evaluate our policies to ensure that we are creating a true enabling environment. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a hand to the panelists. I know you had lots of questions. One of the ways to do it is you write them down somewhere and we'll collect them, give them to the team, and they can compile them into the report that will come out today. I'd like to ask the panelists to resume their seats. Thank you very much. And as they do that, I invite Joy to come forth and talk about ad animation.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Cool. So my name is Joy Mwangi. I'm the CEO and co-founder for Ad Animation. So hence why I look the way I do, because being young people means that you need to dress the part and you also need to enjoy what it is that you do. I have my colleague as well who will introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Mkungusi, the director of the Africa Blockchain Center, a youth, and also a senior software engineer. I'm not a governmental official, but I'll try to be subtle. Thank you.
Fantastic. So first, allow me to thank Youth Agenda for this opportunity to talk to the youth like myself. I am only but 27 years old, and to be able to run an animation studio, it didn't start there, right? So I wanted to be a DJ, right? Do you have any DJs in the house? Any? So when I finished my high school, so I went to Moi Girls Nairobi. I finished, I got a B+, and I told my mom I wanted to be a DJ, right? So we have mothers in the house. So I then asked Ms. Njuki, if your daughter told you that she wanted to be a DJ, what would you think? No. Yeah? Go for it. Go for it. Then? What my parents told me, don't be crazy, find a real job. Okay, don't be crazy, find a real job. And that's what my mother told me. On top of that, and my friend Susan knows, I've been raised in a Christian home. So first, your mother goes to church, and then my daughter wants to be a DJ. So that is clubs and alcohol and people. It's not working, all right? So she tells me, tell you what, let's have compromise. Nowadays, parenting means that you compromise with your kids, correct? So she tells me, why don't you go get a degree and then bring it to me. I will frame it like a picture. And then you can go do DJing, all right? And it didn't sound too bad. I think what she meant to say is, in this time and age, without your papers, you can't get a job. Is that right, young people? It's the truth. It's a reality. And so I love that you talked about skill, initiative, going out there to get the skills that you need. So I went to Daystar and I got my Bachelor of Arts in Communication, PR. I came back, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then before you graduate, your university will tell you, get an internship, right? So I asked my dad, okay, where do we start? And then they tell me, you know what, you're good with people, so why not try a media house, okay? Is there anyone in the media space? Media space? Fantastic, there you are. So I went to Standard Media. Following day. And then she tells me, so we have 3 opportunities, okay? Remember, I've done PR, not electronic media, so I don't know anything in media, but I'm willing to learn. That's step number 1. So then she tells me there are 3 things that are open. There's a library, there's tech, and then there's production. In my mind, nowadays I laugh at myself. I wouldn't even give myself the job. So first library, I said, wow, these guys must really read a lot of books. I don't want to panga books for life. So no, library doesn't sound fun. Then she said tech. Then in my mind I said, wow, those are many wires. I don't know anything about wires. So production, in my mind I said, oh, production means I go to the newspaper when they're producing, I get to read the news before everyone. That sounds cool. And so I told her, production is what I want to take. Now, when I go for the interview for production, it was actually TV production, all right, which meant content creation. So I was good at being a creative. I'm a blogger. I was a Sunday school teacher at the time. It can't be that hard, can it? So the first show they tell me is, Joy, we have a show called Club Kiboko. I said, yes, I've watched it. If we were to let you produce the show, what would you do different? Now I said, because I'm a Sunday school teacher, I love children, so it's not too hard. I said, hey, you guys don't give birthday cakes? Maybe that's an idea. You guys don't, and that's how I got the job, okay? So when I got the job, unfortunately, or fortunately, they were paying me 6,000 bob per month. Now, nowadays, as a graduate, would you take that amount of money? You would not, right? So I have a younger brother who just finished campus from Strathmore, and he tells me, hey, Joy, look, I'm looking for a job. And I say, okay, tell me your expectation. He tells me, if they're not paying me 70,000 bob, they're wasting my time. And I'm like, what? Okay. I started at 6,000, but you want 70,000. Okay, must be nice. That's what he says, must be nice. So I go through internship, I finish my 3 months, and at the time I think it was very fortunate because KTN Home was transiting into KTN News, all right? So they were understaffed. So you're now an intern, but a producer. So you're learning on the job, okay? So graduates, or we young people need to learn on the job and get the opportunities that are there. So I'm learning, my first show was Club Kiboko, I killed it. I invited my boss for my graduation party, and she came. And I remember we gave her an opportunity to give a speech. And she said, Joy, I have never seen someone work as hard as you do. And this is my gift to you. I will give you a job if it's yours to take, if you're willing to take it. Of course, my parents, they're like, DJ, outside. Now we have a job. So I get into the job, and how much are they paying me? 21,000. Okay, again, now you're saying, I've gone to school for 4 years, 21,000. Is that what I want? But I was there for 4 years at the same pay. For me, and what my dad has always told me is that it's not about the money, it's about the value. Value is intangible. Once you access it, it's yours to keep, all right? But what young people we do, and I love that you said, half the time, we're not looking to go out and actually improve on ourselves. We want someone to invest in us, yet we're not willing to invest in ourselves, okay? So long story short, I moved from the media, I get into marketing, because again, I loved to do commercial work and sponsorship. Then I started an animation space. So when you look at where I started, it was a DJ, media, marketing. I never thought animation would be where I am, but it is a reality, and I love it. How I got into the animation space is, number one, I'm a blogger, I love to write, and then getting to meet people. So every opportunity that you get, even today, don't go home before you network with someone. You never know the opportunities that open themselves. So I meet my co-founder, who's called John Kamara. We talk about what I do, and he said, look, have you ever thought about the animation space? I said, I have not. And then he says, you know what, there's something in you. I think you would kill it. I say, you know what, why not? Okay? So we got into the business. Here we are. Animation 101. Do I know anything? I do not. Am I willing to learn? Yes, I am. And so then we sat and we said, okay, first things first, if you guys have watched the advertising space, you're looking at fiber, that's animation, okay? And I know most of us consume animation. We have kids who consume animation. You're looking at Nickelodeon, you're looking at Cocomelon, you're looking at Lion King, all this amazing stuff. The truth about Africa and Kenya is that we're highly consumers, not creators, okay? So we're comfortable enough as young people to look for a structure. We're not willing to take the risk to create a structure that works, okay? So that I don't go too much about Joy, allow me to give Jeff an opportunity to also introduce himself. Then we'll talk a bit more about what we do and some of the questions that we have for you guys, all right? Jeff?
Thank you, Joy. Hi, hello, everyone again. So I'm Jeff Mkungusi, 27 years old, running a company which has presence in 5 countries. And I'm more or less a creator. I've always wanted to be a creator. Since I studied in JKUAT, main campus, still studying there, and I believe we never stop studying. And so the thought process was, just to mention, back in the day in JKUAT, I've always wanted to start my own thing, so I'm more of a creator. So I remember the time I had a crazy idea where I told my friends back in school that I've always wanted to start a company. I didn't know what it will do. I didn't know where it will go. But the thought process was just hit the ball running and just figure things out as we go. So I remember we had a very small office. If guys who are in JKUAT know, cross the road around Gate B, there's a small room there. And we used to develop solutions for people. It could be IoT solutions, it could be embedded computing solutions, software solutions, so on and so forth. And I remember guys telling me, that you're crazy, we should, look for a job. And yeah, it did apply. I mean, based on the skill sets which he had at the time, because we were pure programming, it made sense that to go for a good paying job. But the thought process was that in Kenya at the time, we are more of importers. If we have a solution, we get resources from different countries to come and work for us in terms of developing the solutions. But in line to training people locally to create local solutions which could help people at the time was the motivation for me at that time. So I remember that I had a friend called Gitao and Maurice. We used to, really develop a lot of solutions at the time. And in the process also we were studying. So you could imagine that you're challenging yourself because you're being truly intentional to study and still work at the same time. And I won't lie, it was quite challenging, but it was also a learning experience for us and the team. And around 2016 there, the company, we kind of pivoted the business model to try and create R&D solutions. Yeah, and try to figure out some solutions. And in the process, we're able to do a lot of research and also work on blockchain technology, which now led us to transition from software engineers to blockchain engineers, and now the director of the Africa Blockchain Center. And the thought process of this, as Joy mentioned, it's all about being intentional. It's all about being hungry for knowledge. And it's all about figuring out ways. If, let's say, one process doesn't work, you're purely gifted to come up with another way on how you can create a solution which can provide value to the economy. So I believe we can move to the presentation.
Yes, all right. So before we present, let me tell you a bit more about the studio. And you can tell difference, animation, tech, right? Storyteller, then code. So in animation, therefore, step one of what we thought about what we wanted to do is, number one, create opportunities for young people like ourselves. So the fact that Joy went through a situation where she needs to understand whether DJing works for her, and pretty much it's because I was passionate about music, and I go to campus, I didn't know what I want to do. But in animation, and I loved that Ms. Njuki talked about positioning yourself in places where you can thrive. We looked at, I had the skill for production, and yet animation globally is currently valued at $290 million, all right? Now, Africa only realizes 0.75% of it. Now, did you know that was it a report that was moved in 2021? In 11 million youth in Africa, there are only 3.7 million jobs created every year, which means that 7 million youth in Africa are jobless, all right? And the reality is, as young people, we sit and we say, I want to be employed. So what happens to, I want to create my own opportunities, all right? So Art Animation then therefore thought, okay, the first thing we want to do is capacity build. Now, I know when I was in primary school, and you have kids who love to draw, okay? Do you know someone who's an artist, right? But they're employed, are they not? Okay? So you'd find that you have a child who draws on the textbook. What will your mother tell you? Sister yako atatumia nini? Okay? Right? Or you're in campus and you love to draw, but you're probably taking statistics. And maybe your passion is in that drawing. Now, what you don't know is that that's what we call illustration in animation, okay? Now, that's an untapped market. There are opportunities that are there. So what Art Animation does is we take animators. We have 3 levels of boot camps, where we say level 1 is you know nothing about animation, but you're interested, okay? That's point number 1. And you can draw. So you have the basics 101. We take you through a 3-4 month coursework where we want to untap or discover what talents you have and what you can do, even on the side hustle, what we call moonlighting, right? Number 2 is that we go back to the universities. Fun fact, we only have 4 universities in Kenya that offer degrees in animation, and only 4 colleges in Kenya that offer diplomacy or diplomas in animation, okay? Now, how can 8 institutions service animation where in the world, we are earning $290 million? There's a huge gap for Kenya, all right? Not just Kenya, but for Africa. And so level 3, which is the cohort that we're currently running, we take professional animators, the same process. We'll teach you how to network. We teach you how to work in teams. You work on a project. And at the end of your 4 months, then you pitch your idea to investors who would give you an opportunity. They can give you a job, they can invest in your business, and they can say, hey, I like what you're doing, let me give you employment, okay? And now in animation, we call it contractual work, because I do the work, and then we move on, right? And so one of the ways that really you guys are able to support is look for such studios that are trying to capacity build, because we can't do it by ourselves, all right? We need the support to be able to make this happen. But that's number 1. Number 2, we're talking about high incentive tax. Someone talked about tax where you're paying tax to get education. Let's even talk about importing hardware and licenses for software. Now, one of the leading animation licenses called Toon Boom is about $2,000 a year. That's very expensive. As an animator, I may have the passion, but I don't have the opportunity to pay for it myself. How can the government, how can ILO, how can these organizations help us to bridge the gap, all right? Then we talk about copywriting, and I love that you talked about data. So guys, at the end of the day, that can actually get into tech. You've developed your app, you have an animation, but you don't know what policies and what laws govern your content. So I pitch to company X, and then they take my idea and they make it their own. So I, as a creator, I'm at a loss. How do you guys continue to teach us and tell us what the government is doing to protect artists like myself, all right? Then let's talk about studio space. It's very, very expensive for us to be able to get equipment that we need, because when you're talking about animation, talking about rendering and AI, there's a lot of rendering that is needed. That's machine like you can never imagine, all right? But where do you get that opportunity? A data center where you can go access equipment that you can use to create content. That's how I job create. Make sense? Fantastic. Jeff?
For the Africa Blockchain Center, we're more focused on capacity building. So this basically means that we train people around blockchain development, co-programming, in regards to innovative solutions. So for example, while working with the animation team, we're working on NFT solution where if the animators come up with their art, music, how can they earn from it? How can they own their data? So through the blockchain or through decentralized solutions, you're able to create the music, the art, images, illustrations, poems, so on and so forth. We're able to burn it and convert it in a digital asset, whereby and then divide it in a couple of portions, where if somebody can own a piece of data, and you can actually earn from that piece of data anywhere in the world. And in the Africa Blockchain Center, we see, because we work with universities and we also work with different countries all over the world, we see that the youth in Kenya are quite vibrant in the blockchain space and also in the development space. And we see a lot of innovations from them based on the problems which they're facing every day. So this means that they're actually motivated in coming up with solutions, whether it's under identity management for various banks, or it's under owning the data or data protection around decentralized solutions. And just to add, before, as we go to the presentation, we are more focused on research and development. So this means that we have a lot of jobs that we are creating within the company itself and within the projects which we're doing. And as we train the youth on blockchain development and just seeing how best they can be able to create major solutions using, as mentioned, Python, JavaScript, Elixir, PHP, so on and so forth, or even low-level languages like Haskell, we're able to be able to put them in teams where they can actually work together, whether locally in Kenya or even merging them with other African countries, where they can come up with solutions which we can incubate within the lab, or we can also incorporate them in some of the jobs we're working on. And as the presentation is being loaded in regards to ad animation, just to add, ad animation, the Africa Blockchain Center, we also have the Artificial Intelligence Center of Excellence within the same company. We work together to make sure that the students who we're working with are fully trained, quite knowledgeable in development methodologies and development languages. And we just see that we encourage and motivate them to think outside the box and come up with innovative solutions that can help Kenya as a whole.
All right. So we will show you just one because we've run out of time. Animations that we do, that's our showreel. And basically what we're saying is, as ad animation, and we are then telling the youth that there is animation, there is coding, there is tech, there is writing, whatever it is that you're interested in. As we were told, Udemy and Coursera, and fun fact is, in Kenya, we have just under 200 animators, and 70% are self-trained, all right? So that means you actually need to go out there, find the resources. You have a laptop, you have internet, you know, teach yourself. Now, once you have the skill and you come to ad animation and we're saying, okay, we're running a boot camp, then you're not far behind with catching up with the skill of what can help you to job create for yourself. All right. Okay, not a problem. Sorry, so they're saying we'll be able to look into the cable, but we'll be out here. We'd love to talk to you guys about what we do and some of the opportunities that are there for you if you're interested in animation and tech and AI and blockchain. But thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Guys, I just want to take this opportunity to invite us. We all go for a break of 20 minutes. Tea served just behind this hall. There's some tents there. Let's try to keep time. Just let's take 20 minutes maximum. We have another session that we are supposed to look at. Yeah, thanks so much.